Hello, everybody. Welcome to Build Fly Go. So this flight was last weekend, 2 weekends ago, the weekend of 4th of July, July 5th. And a few of us decided to do a socially distant flight out to Door County, Wisconsin, which is a sort of jut out little peninsula on the northeast of the state into it's got Lake Michigan on one side and Green Bay on the other side. And it's a little touristy town that has some state parks and little airports, and it's just pretty and fun. The two airplanes you see ahead of me are an RV-12, Dale's RV-12, and 57 Tango being flown by Sam. And we all headed out there together and in sort of loose formation and borrowed some bikes at the airport. They had bikes. We wiped them down and then did the Peninsula State Park bike loop. I want to say it was like 15 miles total because I took a wrong turn at one point and went the wrong way back towards the airport and added 5 miles or something. So beautiful day. It was warm. It was nice. It was fairly busy. The airport had a lot of airplanes, and so definitely a lot of people in the park. But everybody sort of kept their distance, and everybody was safe. Oh, you can see the other airplanes. There's there's 57 Tango on the left, and Dale's. Look at that. That's pretty cool. And Dale's RV-12. Out there. I am the rightmost in this formation, and as you imagine, I'm very throttled back, right? Because they're doing 95 knots. I want to say is roughly where it was, 95 to 100 knots tops. And so I'm throttled back a good bit. And so our first stop is in Fond du Lac. We decided to get some gas, and gas in Fond du Lac is a lot cheaper. Well, it was cheaper. It wasn't a lot cheaper. Unfortunately, Madison has two issues with fuel right now. One of them is if you call for the fuel truck, which is the only option. There are no fuel pumps that you can just go to. If you call for the fuel truck, you could be waiting a half hour. It's not uncommon for it just to take a half hour for them to show up, and you have to just sit around and wait, and that's that. And the other issue is their fuel is probably one of the pricier ones in the area. There is significantly cheaper fuel by over $1 a gallon within a 15-minute flight. So it doesn't make a ton of sense, right? Like I would happily pay extra for the fuel if it wasn't a hassle, but as it's a hassle, I might as well just go somewhere else. So we stopped at Fond du Lac. To fuel up. Everybody's keeping their distance, and you can see both airplanes. There's 57 Tango on the far left, and then there's the RV-12. Romeo Mike, I think, is the last two on the tail up there. So as before, we let them get going first, and we are heading north towards Door County in this one. So this time I decided I wasn't going to be throttled all the way back, and my plan was I will pitch for speed and pitch to maintain the same speed that they're in and see what happens. Unfortunately, if I'm pitched that high in full power, I don't get enough airflow over the cylinders to keep my cylinder head temps low enough. So I actually pitched for 100 knots instead of the 95-ish that they were doing. And I just climbed, and I think I made it to 11,000 feet ish before I decided this is silly. And I was most of the way there at that point anyway. So I just decided, I just pulled the throttle, and didn't shock pull it, of course, but I pulled the throttle and descended at a fairly fast clip into Ephraim, not Ephraim. Ephraim. They'll correct you on the radio. And I was ahead of them because I was climbing at a faster ground speed for cylinder cooling. But anyway, it was a great trip and a great bike ride. and yep, I was above the clouds for a lot of it. It was nice and cool up at 11,000. I believe it was like 4 degrees C, which was just phenomenal. It's like having air conditioning, very very cold air conditioning, and so it was nice. It was a nice flight. Coming up, so Ephraim is almost to the tip of Door County. If you look at a map of Wisconsin, you'll see if you sort of hold up your left hand facing away from you, the thumb is Door County. So Ephraim is almost at the tip of the thumb, and Peninsula State Park is right there. I think I'm definitely starting my descent. Maybe not. Well, maybe. Oh, I was going towards the shoreline because the view was a little more interesting. Anyway, so Ephraim is near the tip, near Peninsula State Park, and they have bikes you can borrow at the airport. Of course, try and buy some fuel there to help them cover their costs. But they don't for single engine aircraft, non-charter. For the day, they don't charge you to stay tied down. Of course, if it's a charter, they will charge you a landing fee, but it's not for just private flights. You can see the sort of the cut there, like there's that water that goes from Green Bay into Lake Michigan. That is, I believe that's Sturgeon Bay right there, and there's another little airport right there, Cherryland Airport. So that's an option. It's a slightly bigger town right there, not large by any means, but slightly bigger than the other stuff around here. Everything else around here is like small sort of touristy towns, little boats. That's nice. But yeah, so this was I believe it was a Sunday, a nice little Sunday flight. Gets a little bumpy below the clouds, not very much. But it was just phenomenal. And this that we're over right now is Peninsula. And there we go, landing on 1-4. Quite a few airplanes. There's the airport manager, comes out on a bike just to see if I need anything and what's going on. And there's 57 Tango. Airport manager. All right, and we are back. So, just getting the plane ready. Still had plenty of fuel because we fueled up in Fond du Lac, and just discussing the plan. This time there's a line of thunderstorms west of us that we just need to keep an eye on. And yes, as you noticed, unfortunately, I did not get fuel there. I did tell the airport manager that my plan for next time is to fill up, but that we wanted to beat the storms. So I apologized. They were very nice. I need to go back to that airport more often. But anyway, so this time I did not stick with Sam and Dale. I decided to just book it south and at my normal speed and climb and have a better idea of what these clouds look like, so that if it looked bad I could just radio back to them and let them know to stop somewhere along the way and wait for it to pass. But it turned out that it was great. It was there were cells to the left and to the right, but they were very, very distinct, very separate. You could see them both on the ADS-B screen, and they were very accurate. And also, I was talking to ATC the entire time, and the ATC was watching them on their radar and keeping me away from stuff. But as you'll see coming up, I really appreciate the ATC help, but in this case it was pretty clear, where the weather was and where you should stay away. So yeah, so that's it. I'll let you enjoy the rest of the video without my yapping. 3 more minutes. Hope you enjoyed, and we'll talk again soon. Have a good day.